So it seems like Anita has made another video and we're not even in October yet. First of all, I just want to do this. Thank you so much, Miss Sarkeesian, for maintaining a coherent upload. Thank you so much for pleasing the less than 20 fanbases that you have that got pissed off thanks to my last video. And speaking about that, the last one, despite getting tons and tons of views, got quite the dislikes. I think I can point out to a reason why. This motherfucking thing, like fucking audio spike is killing everybody's ears in the first few fucking minutes. Jesus Christ. That is an immortal sin that I cannot wipe out of my channel's dirty history since I'm ironically using the term vagina bones. Seriously guys, to all you guys who subbed to me thanks to that video, thanks for the sub. To those ears that I horrendously assault, pray to the almighty lord that you don't get deaf because of it. And yes, I know some of you guys complain in the comments that she's just essentially a dead horse and that she's always gonna say wrong things and misrepresent video games every single time she opens her goddamn mouth. So why keep on making fun of her? Well, at this rate, it has been statistically proven that me giving my attention to people that I make fun of has not contributed to the success of the people that I make fun of. I make fun of the Mary Sue multiple times in my videos, and their site is still tanking like a sperm whale in Niagara. That plus they demand people to subscribe once again. I have done nothing but give them attention, and they still fail. So it's safe to say that this will apply to Anita as well. Besides, one of the amazing things about her is that you can literally watch one video about her, and you'll know every single thing that she does. So you can watch my last Anita Sarkeesian video, please don't if you value your ears, or you can just watch this one so that you can understand the kind of thing that she does here on YouTube. With ratings and comments disabled, what could possibly be the ideas that Miss Anita Sarkeesian have to the entire world? Let's find out, shall we? Hello, Morinth, side character from Mass Effect 2 that is just totally inferior compared to Samara. Like, seriously, Samara is at least leaning on the good side of things. Morinth is just a time bomb waiting to explode. If for some stupid reason you want to romance her, get a better love interest, you moron. Same intro as last time, skip.
id Software's 2004 game Doom 3 took the basic concept of their earlier Doom titles.
You're gonna talk about Doom, Anita? Alright, Doom is one of my favorite series of all time. I want to see how you misrepresent this game.
id Software's 2004 game Doom 3 took the basic concept of their earlier Doom titles, a space marine single-handedly fighting his way through hordes of demonic abominations, but it used the vastly improved computer graphics of its time to create a moodier, scarier tone. Along with the reimagined environments, sharper textures, and more atmospheric lighting effects, the creative team also designed some unsettling new monsters for this latest confrontation with the forces of hell.
Wow, this is a mostly accurate description of Doom 3. But she's gonna ruin it, of course.
One of those new monsters was the Vagary, a monstrosity with the upper half of a naked woman and the lower half of a giant spider, who also happens to be pregnant with a demon fetus in her abdomen. Okay,
what's the problem with that?
It's no mistake that the Vagary blends female sexuality and fertility with elements...
I should watch more Anita Sarkeesian, like... Every single time she says video game stuff and then snaps into your typical female sexuality or any other feminist terms, just... She's reading way too much into video games. It's hilarious. Like, Anita, I will consider subscribing to your channel if the kind of content that you make is ironic. You will be the funniest YouTuber and people will love you. I guarantee it. I swear to you. Aw, this video is age restricted. Maybe you should censor some of the boobs in there. Oh, and YouTube algorithm is getting funnier and funnier. Here's the Feminist Frequency channel, and she enables related channel, which allows YouTube to recommend a guy who makes fun of her. Just... Wait, a rant signal? Why is Anita Sarkeesian recommending a rant signal? That's weird. I love a rant signal Spec Ops Line video, so... Anyway, let's continue.
The book The Making of Doom 3 reveals that the game's creative team summed up the driving concept for the Vagary with the equation sexy plus gross equals creepy.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I might end up going to this video laughing my ass off. I don't want to do that, but she's just way too straight-faced delivering those lines. Remember that time where Anita Sarkeesian's partner Jonathan McIntosh basically says,
and that word is patriarchy. Dun dun dun. Lightning.
I swear to God, Anita must have been thinking the same thing as she does in these videos, which in that case actually makes her smarter for making me laugh. Good job, Anita. You're the freaking saint of YouTube. I cannot go through a full month without you making me laugh. I'll consider subscribing. Don't worry about it.
What the makers of Doom 3 may not have realized is that this equation was in no way new, original, or innovative. On the contrary, by singling out the Vagary, the only female enemy in the game, for her gender and using this to make her uniquely repulsive, the designers were participating in a very long tradition of creating female creatures who function to demonize femaleness itself.
Demonizes femaleness itself. Oh my God. Anita. Thank you. Just thank you. You're a freaking saint. I'm not being sarcastic. You're truly a saint. Your videos are the funniest thing that I've ever seen in a while. I'll consider subscribing. Anyway, let's get to counter her arguments because I've yet to do that for the past couple of minutes. Anita, just because id Software demonizes one female creature doesn't mean that id Software wants to demonize women in general. Let's be fair here, everyone. Women can be nihilistic, manipulative bitches. Am I saying that all women are like that? Am I saying that guys can't be? No. They can be total maggots as well. But having an argument with the premise that all women are perfect human beings is faulty because...
But she's not implying that. She's implying that not all women are like that. And she's saying that the game mischaracterizes women as a whole.
Yeah, and the water is wet. Of course not all women are like that. Who gets the idea that all women are like that? Are they representative of gamers as a whole?
To understand how such characters function, we actually need to venture back a few millennia, to time when myth and folklore were part of how people interpreted and made sense of the world.
Myth and folklore are how people interpret and make sense of the world. Yeah, they can be those, but what about those that just want to be good myths and good folklores? If all myths and folklores are built to do that, then the past is a pretty boring world. No fun in games there? Every story has to be somewhat reflective of reality? I'm reading too much into this. I think she's infected me. I should probably hold that subscription offer for a bit.
Just as modern media both reflects and shapes our culture today, those ancient stories weren't simply meaningless entertainment in their own time. They reflected and reinforced cultural values. Sadly, misogyny has been part of cultures for the past few thousand years, and the myths and folktales of those cultures reflect that.
Define misogyny. According to dictionary.com, hatred, dislike, or mistrust of women or prejudice against women. How is some female characters depicted as horrible demons equal to misogyny? They're not supposed to be representative of women in general. Just because most Bond villains are male doesn't mean that all males are evil. But you're a typical third-wave feminist, that's what you believe.
With female creatures and
It seems like Anita wants to demonetize me. Thanks, Ine. You're very helpful.
with female creatures and monsters who represented beliefs that women are inherently deceptive, manipulative, or evil.
Anita, being deceptive, manipulative, and evil are the traits that all human beings can have, regardless of their gender. Their gender is completely not important in the grand scheme of things. The only thing that is important is them being deceptive, manipulative, and evil, because those are negative traits that human beings in general despise, regardless of what gender the people who have those traits are. And yes, these people can be men, these people can be women. It's not a gendered issue, it's a human being issue.
In his book Misogyny, The World's Oldest Prejudice, Jack Holland explores this through the story of Pandora from Greek mythology.
Oh shit, I suck at ancient Greek even to this day. I'm so sorry, high school me, I failed you.
The first woman, Pandora, was created by Zeus specifically to punish humanity after Prometheus stole fire from the gods. She's given a sealed jar and told to never open it. But because Zeus designed her to be evil and lacking in morals or manners, of course she does open it. By doing so, she unleashes evil into the world, dooming humankind to labor, suffering, aging, illness, and death.
I'm no expert on Greek myths, but last time I checked, backstabbing is pretty much the norm, regardless of gender.
Where else have I heard a story about the first woman doing something she's not supposed to do and being responsible for all the bad things in the world?
Okay, I have to admit, Anita attempting to joke looks so freaking adorable. I'm not being sarcastic, I actually mean it. She looks genuinely adorable. Some of you might cringe on it, but come on, she's a freaking saint. She's the golden comedy of YouTube. How can you hate her at this state? Man, season 2 is getting better and better. I might consider subscribing.
Commenting on what the tale of Pandora and others like it actually tell us about ancient Greece, Holland writes, as well as burdening Pandora with responsibility for the moral lot of man, the Greeks created a vision of woman as the other, the antithesis to the male thesis, who needed boundaries to contain her. Any history of the attempt to dehumanize half of the human race is confronted by this paradox, that some of the values we cherish most were forged in a society that devalued, denigrated, and despised women.
Jesus Christ, talk about reading way too much into things. These people are literally interpreting Greek mythology as some form of a misogynist conspiracy. It's actually quite fascinating to watch. It's like watching Kenji in a mirror universe. It's just adorable.
And in his book, The Gender Knot, Alan G. Johnson discusses the relationship between mythology and misogyny.
Okay, can we pause there for a bit? It seems like we're getting a little bit sidetracked. We're talking about demonized women in video games, right? Let's skip ahead to the discussion.
The equation sexy plus gross equals creepy pertains not just to the...
How can you watch an Anita Sarkeesian video and not burst into laughter? She said all of that with a straight face. Thank you, Anita, for the comedy gold. You're a freaking saint.
The equation sexy plus gross equals creepy pertains not just to the vagary, but to a whole category of characters I refer to as grotesquely female. These are characters who incorporate highly gendered or sexualized elements in ways that are specifically intended to be creepy or disgusting.
I don't really get Anita, to be honest. There are times in which women are portrayed as badasses, but that is bad because they're white. There are times in which women are portrayed as people of color, but that is bad because they're sexy. You can't please her. I think it's public knowledge at this point, but some developers are still not listening, so I have to preach it every single time.
Other examples of the grotesquely female include Diablo 3's Sadea, the Maiden of Lust who spouts dialogue in a sensual, seductive tone, while also taking the form of a giant spider woman.
I will take great pleasure in your suffering.
Clotho, the third sister of Fate in God of War 2, has naked breasts all over her body in a way that's clearly meant to be repulsive. While in Dante's Inferno, Cleopatra's nipples release demon babies who attack the player. And, well, I don't think the footage of the boss Kaylee from Bloodforge needs any explanation. Now, of course, there's no shortage of male characters in games who are meant to elicit disgust.
Well, there you go. Problem solved. Equality achieved. I think we're done here, everybody. Let's go back, guys. We're done here.
But the unsettling nature of those characters is not tied explicitly to their gender. They don't function to suggest that maleness itself is inherently disgusting or dangerous. With these female characters, on the other hand, their grotesque nature is inextricably tied to their gender. Elements that are often presented as titillating in other contexts are twisted and made repugnant, so that their femaleness itself is what serves to make them disgusting.
None of those equal misogyny, Anita. Just because the creators of Shimoneta designed one of the enemies with a taser dick doesn't mean that they hate men.
Exploiting women's femaleness is not always done by presenting them as repulsive. With some, it's their attractiveness or seductiveness that makes them worthy of fear, scorn, and contempt.
Maybe because there are some women in fiction that are using their seductive tone and nature in a way to manipulate others to do whatever things that they wanted. You know, just like some women in real life. Anita, you're speaking on the mindset that all women are perfect human beings who are always kind to each other. Your utopian mindset is unrealistic and childish, or, as Revy once said,
a load of fucking crap.
Among the most famous female mythological creatures are the sirens, whose voices were irresistibly alluring to men who sailed near their island and heard their songs. But the music of the sirens was as dangerous as it was captivating, and the sailors who were seduced by the sound soon found themselves shipwrecked and stranded. Some interpretations characterize the sirens as cannibals who murdered the shipwrecked men and feasted on their flesh.
None of those equal misogyny, Anita.
And there are endless other mythological creatures created explicitly to demonize women, such as the succubus.
Anita, for the love of God, you do not trigger him. Please do not trigger him or he's going on full berserk in the comment section. You won't like it when that happens.
The harpy, a screeching bird creature with the face of a woman, And of course, the classic witch, a dangerous myth that resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of real women across Europe and the American colonies in the 16th and 17th centuries.
Yeah, it's horrible, but none of those equal misogyny. They don't burn the witches because they're female. They burn the witches because they're suspected to be able to do black magic. Not saying what they're doing is right, you just misrepresented the reasons why they're burned.
These archaic villainizing notions about femaleness are anything but ancient history. Their contemporary counterparts still show up in many games today, communicating the same regressive ideas about women's sexuality.
Anita, just because a few female characters in games are being demonized doesn't mean that the creators of the games that demonize those female characters have a hatred of women.
In the 2010 game Mass Effect 2, players can agree to help the Asari Justicar Samara.
Oh yeah, I forgot, Samara! There's an example of a positive old character for you. Surprised you didn't mention her in your last video.
In the 2010 game Mass Effect 2, players can agree to help the Asari Justicar Samara capture her daughter Morinth, a fugitive who suffers from a genetic disorder that makes mating with her deadly. When Samara confronts Morinth, players have two options: to keep their word and help Samara, or to betray and kill Samara and add Morinth to their team in her place. If players side with Morinth, she later tries to seduce Shepard with talk of the incredible ecstasy they might experience with her.
You and I can share something so intense, so deep, it will change your life.
But if players are swayed by Morinth's promises and choose to be with her, Shepard dies, just like all of Morinth's other lovers.
This is a punishment for those morons who cannot tell who is a yandere and who isn't. Frankly, good riddance to those massively perverted dead Shepards. We need less morons in this universe.
While grotesquely female characters are designed to make femaleness repugnant by blending sexuality and repulsiveness, temptresses like Morinth make femaleness threatening because of their sexuality and attractiveness. This tradition of sexualized evil women in the Temptress mold include characters ranging from the Dark Queen of the Battletoads games to Elizabeth from Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. In Hitman Absolution, if players track the target Layla to a secret room in the penthouse, she strips for Agent 47 in an attempt to distract him before drawing a gun and trying to kill him.
Again, none of those examples automatically mean misogyny. It means that some female characters can be horrendous people. Is there a possibility that this is not a gender issue, Anita? Is there a possibility that it's not the creators using the character's gender to manipulate others, but it's the characters themselves using their gender traits to manipulate others?
The problem with these representations is not that they depict female characters who are sexual, it's the way that sexuality is presented, as a threat or a weapon rather than as something to be enjoyed by these women and those they choose to consensually share it with.
Oh, so that's why Anita Sarkeesian criticizes women being sexualized in the previous videos, because those female characters do not consent. How would you ask fictional characters to consent, Anita?
It's a false notion of female sexuality rooted in ancient misogynistic ideas about women as deceptive and evil.
You don't say?
Games sometimes blend the two extremes of the temptress and the grotesquely female, presenting us with female characters who initially appear attractive and alluring, only to have their true form revealed as monstrous and threatening.
Do I have to repeat myself? None of those equal misogyny.
The critically acclaimed 2013 game Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
Oh no. Oh, you're gonna trigger tons and tons of people bringing up that freaking masterpiece.
The critically acclaimed 2013 game Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, tells the story of brothers on a quest to find a cure for their ailing father. At one point on their journey, they rescue a young woman who it appears is about to be sacrificed.
Oops, spoilers.
I have to cut out that video because she's giving quite a plenty. To all of you guys, please go play Brothers. It's fucking amazing. The controls can get awkward, but it's an exhilarating experience regardless.
DMC features a scene in which Dante confronts Lilith, a character whose sexualization is intended to be unsettling rather than titillating, as if she thinks she's sexually appealing while the player is meant to find her unattractive. Lilith then undergoes a horrifying transformation as the demon spawn she's carrying inside of her emerges to fight Dante. In Splosion Man, the final boss initially appears to be a cartoonishly sexy woman in a wedding dress. However, when she's defeated for the first time, she reveals her true form, a gigantic, grotesque female creature. While this is played for laughs, the core idea that female sexuality is inherently deceptive or threatening remains the same.
Yeah? Does that equal misogyny too?
With all of these character types, their femaleness or sexuality is an intrinsic part of what is intended to make them dangerous or repulsive. As a result, when male heroes defeat them, their victory is often explicitly gendered, emphasizing that the male protagonist has overcome the female threat and reinserted his dominance and control.
No, it means that they win. Simple. Again, it's not a gendered issue, Anita. My female Dark Souls character beat Queelag. How is our victory a gendered issue? Talk about reading way too much into things.
This can be as simple as the use of gendered slurs, as in Gears of War 3 when Marcus Phoenix stabs and kills the Locust Queen.
And everyone else you killed, you bitch.
Honest question, Anita. What happens when women do it?
Step off, Edda. You limp-wristed bitch.
Not my daughter, you bitch! Get away from her, you bitch!
Or in this boss fight in Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, which ends with the protagonist impaling the vampire through the mouth.
It's not that she's getting a blowjob on that, it's just that she's a filthy vampire who sucked people's blood in the first place. Now she gets to suck on that goddamn rod. The irony is not that she sucked dicks, but the fact that she sucks blood.
Of course, it's entirely possible to have female villains who don't reinforce the idea that female sexuality or femaleness itself is threatening or repulsive. In Knights of the Old Republic 2,
You really love Knights of the Old Republic 2, do you?
Kreia is a richly developed and complex villain whose evil is not tied to her gender. In the Portal games, the malicious AI GlaDOS' obsession with taunting and killing the protagonist is presented in a smart, engaging way that doesn't reinforce misogynistic ideas about women as a whole.
Fun fact, according to the director commentary, GlaDOS was designed to mimic this. Tie that up to her character and her backstory and it all made sense. Not exactly a positive example if you ask me, but eh.
These representations are often defended because they're rooted in storytelling traditions that date back for thousands of years. But for as long as it has existed, misogyny has been reinforced by the stories that cultures have told themselves.
Anita, define misogyny.
Myths, legend, folktales, and religious teachings have been used as tools to contribute to the oppression of women for millennia. When games today uncritically employ such representations, they aren't tapping into some intrinsic truth of human existence.
They're not supposed to be, they're just video games. They're fantasy, not reality. Hello?
They're doing what stories involving such characters have always done, perpetuating false notions that women are inherently misleading and manipulative, and that female sexuality is something to be shamed, feared, and controlled.
It's not a gendered issue, Anita.
Those ideas were harmful 2,800 years ago, and they're still harmful today.
And that's the end of our video for today. Guys, whatever you think of Anita Sarkeesian and her scummy practices in the past, I just want to say this. She has dramatically improved. And by improved, I mean her videos are getting funnier and funnier. She didn't pull off any of those harassment drama nonsense like in 2014. If she keeps on making videos like this and keep on her outrageous claims to video games, she can potentially be very entertaining to watch. I might not like the person who made the content, but god damn it, the content is just too funny to miss. If you want to either cringe or laugh or just torture yourself over some stupid, Feminist Frequency is definitely the channel for you. Thanks for joining us in this wonderful video, Anita. You've been very funny throughout, and you have tons and tons of fun. I hope we see each other again the next month with even funnier content. That's all for the video today, guys. If you like this, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more. If you wish, you can support me on Patreon, and thanks for watching.